The download, a grandfather's guide to going viral. Chapter 1, the wake-up call. I've never been what you'd call a tech person. For 73 years, I've gotten along just fine with my landline telephone, my morning newspaper, and my trusty flip phone that does exactly two things: makes calls and tells time. Sometimes in that order. But last Tuesday, sitting in my armchair with my crossword puzzle and lukewarm tea, I had what the young people call an epiphany. Though in my day, we just called it finally noticing something obvious. My daughter Sarah had visited that afternoon. Her monthly obligation, I suppose you could call it. 45 minutes of polite conversation about the weather. Her work, something with computers I've never quite understood. And assurances that yes, I'm eating vegetables. And no, I haven't fallen down the stairs. Yet, the whole time her phone kept buzzing. She'd glance at it, smile at something, tap away with her thumbs moving faster than hummingbird wings, then look back up at me with a guilty expression. Sorry, Dad. It's just Max. He's at chess club. Max is my grandson. 11 years old, and I've seen him exactly 4 times in the past year. He lives 30 miles away, which might as well be Mars for how often we connect. What's he saying? I asked. Sarah showed me her phone. The screen was filled with tiny pictures. A chess piece, a laughing yellow face, a thumbs up, something that looked like an exploding head. He just won his match. She translated. I stared at the hieroglyphics. That's nice, though I'm not sure what the exploding head means in context. It means his mind is blown. He's excited. In my day, we just said, I'm excited. She smiled that patient smile that children give their aging parents. I know, Dad. After she left, I sat there for a long time, looking at my phone. The flip kind. The one that does two things. I thought about Max, 30 miles away, sending his mother exploding heads, while I sat here wondering what chess tournament he'd won. I thought about my son David in Seattle, who calls every Sunday at 3 p.m. sharp, a 15-minute conversation that covers health, weather, and his job, also something with computers. The house felt very quiet. That's when I made my decision. If my family was living in some digital world I didn't understand, then by God, I'd learn to understand it. How hard could it be? I'd learned to drive a tractor at 15, survived 2 years of Latin in high school, and figured out how to use the self-checkout at the grocery store. This would be the same thing. Spoiler alert, it was not the same thing. Chapter 2, Welcome to the Jungle. The next morning, I walked into Mobile Mania with the determination of a man going to war. A young man with purple hair and approximately 17 earrings greeted me. Hey there, I'm Brandon. How can I help you today? I need a smartphone, I announced. The kind that does everything. Brandon's face lit up like I just told him he won the lottery. Awesome. Are you looking for Android or iOS? Yes, I said confidently. He blinked. Which one? The one that works. We stared at each other. This was going to be a long morning. 2 hours later, I walked out with a device that cost more than my first car and a splitting headache. Brandon had explained things like gigabytes and cloud storage and facial recognition, and I'd nodded along while understanding approximately none of it. At home, I unboxed my new purchase with the care of a bomb disposal expert. The phone was a sleek black rectangle, completely smooth except for a few buttons on the side. I pressed the main button. Nothing happened. I pressed it again. Still nothing. You have to turn it on first, I muttered to myself, feeling foolish. I held down the side button like Brandon had shown me. The screen blazed to life with colors so bright I nearly dropped it. A pleasant female voice said, "Hello, let's set up your new phone." I almost threw it across the room. The damn thing was talking to me. "Who said that?" I asked the empty kitchen. "I'm your virtual assistant," the phone replied. "You can call me Siri." I looked around. Was this a prank? Had Sarah put someone up to this? "Where are you?" I asked suspiciously. "I'm in your phone." "How did you fit in there?" There was a pause. "I'm not physically present. I'm a voice-activated artificial intelligence." This was already going splendidly. After an hour of Siri patiently explaining things to me, like I was a particularly slow child, which in this context I managed to get through the setup process. Sort of. I may have accidentally agreed to share my location with everyone in my contacts, but that seemed like a problem for future me. Next challenge, texting Sarah to tell her about my new phone. I found the messaging app. After accidentally opening the camera and taking several close-up photos of my left nostril, and tapped on Sarah's name, a keyboard appeared on screen. Each key was approximately the size of a flea. I positioned my index finger carefully and pressed the letter H. H, 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 H appeared in the text box. I'd held it too long. I pressed the delete button. The message box cleared. I tried again, this time barely tapping it. Nothing happened. 30 minutes later, I'd managed to compose. Higsarai, Gotve NMW phone. Close enough. I hit send. Sarah called immediately. When I figured out how to answer, swipe right apparently, though my first instinct was to flip it open like my old phone, which just made me look like I was trying to break it in half. She was laughing. "Dad, you got a smartphone. That's wonderful." "It's a nightmare device sent to torment the elderly," I corrected. "But I'm learning." "I'm so proud of you. Listen, I'll come over this weekend and help you set things up. We can download some apps." "Download? Like, from where? Is someone throwing them?" "Oh boy," Sarah said, still laughing. "This is going to be fun." Chapter 3, Apps, Snaps, and Perhaps a Collapse. By the end of the week, my phone had become my nemesis. A sleek, rectangular nemesis that buzzed and beeped and demanded attention like a very expensive pet rock. Sarah arrived on Saturday morning with coffee and an expression of barely contained amusement. "Okay, Dad, let's see what you've managed so far." I handed her the phone proudly. "I've been practicing." She scrolled through my photos. There were 47 pictures of my ceiling, 32 of my thumb, and one accidentally perfect sunset that I'd taken while trying to turn the flashlight off. "This sunset is actually really good," she said. "That was a mistake." Of course it was. She bit back a smile. "All right, let's get you set up properly. First, we need to get you on social media so you can see what Max and David are up to." "Social media?" "Facebook, Instagram, that sort of thing." "I'm not sure I want to be on the Facebook." "It's one word, and trust me, everyone's on it. You can see photos of your grandkids, keep up with family." "Can they see photos of me?" "Well, yes, if you post them." I thought about my collection of ceiling and thumb portraits. Perhaps we should establish some photography skills first. Sarah spent the next hour walking me through what she called the basics. We created a Facebook account, which required me to answer security questions like, "What was your first pet's name?" "Mr. Whiskers, a terrible cat." "And what street did you grow up on?" "Elm Street," which I'm certain makes my account less secure, given that horror movie. Then came the profile picture. "Smile, Dad." I smiled. She took the photo. I looked like I was being held hostage. "Let's try again. More natural this time." 15 attempts later, We had a photo where I looked approximately 60% human. Good enough, Sarah declared with forced enthusiasm. Then she showed me the news feed. An endless scroll of people I vaguely recognized sharing pictures of their food, their opinions, and their cats. So many cats. Why is Harold posting a picture of his lunch? I asked. Because he wants to share it. But it's a sandwich. It looks like every other sandwich in human history. Social media logic, Dad. Don't think too hard about it. Next up, Instagram. Apparently this was the picture app, which seemed redundant since Facebook also had pictures. But I'd learned not to question these things. This is where Max posts a lot, Sarah explained, pulling up his account. See? Here he is at chess club. Here's a video of him skateboarding. And here's, oh dear, what? He's using slang in his captions. No cap, this trick was bussin' for fur. I stared at the words. Is he having a stroke? Sarah burst out laughing. No, Dad. It's just modern slang. No cap means he's not lying. Bussin' means really good. Far is for real, for real. Why not just say, this trick was really good and I'm being truthful? Because that's not cool. Being clear isn't cool. In this context, no. I made a mental note. Modern language has completely abandoned sense in favor of what? Efficiency? Confusion? A secret code to keep old people out? All right, I said, determination settling over me like a blanket. If I'm going to talk to my grandson, I need to learn this language. Sarah looked concerned. Dad, you don't have to. I'm learning the lingo, I interrupted. Teach me. What else do I need to know? She sighed. Okay, but promise me you won't try to use these with your friends at the senior center. I make no such promise. Chapter 4, Going Viral, sort of. 2 weeks into my digital journey, I'd made some progress. I could now take photos that contained my actual face, send text messages with only minor spelling errors, scroll through Facebook without accidentally liking everything I touched, answer phone calls without hanging up immediately. However, I'd also butt-dialed David in Seattle at 2 a.m., ordered $147 worth of kitchen gadgets I didn't need through a pop-up ad, joined a Facebook group for British motorcycle enthusiasts. I don't own a motorcycle. Somehow enabled voice to text, leading to several very confusing messages when Siri misheard me. But my biggest challenge was yet to come. Emojis. Max had sent me a message. Hey, Grandpa, smile wave. How's it going? Confetti. I stared at the little yellow faces. So much emotion packed into tiny circles. I needed to respond in kind. I found the emoji keyboard. After accidentally changing my phone language to Mandarin and having a minor panic attack, and scrolled through the options. There were thousands of them. Thousands. Little faces, animals, foods, activities, objects. There was even one that appeared to be a pile of smiling feces. Who decided we needed that? Who asked for it? I carefully selected what I thought was appropriate. Hello, Max, thumbs up smile. Having a great day, confetti balloon. I felt quite proud of myself until Sarah called. Dad, why did you send Max a message with balloons and confetti? It's Tuesday. Nothing's happening. I thought it looked festive. It looks like you're throwing a party. Is there a less festive option? Just use the regular smiley face. That's safe. But I was determined to master this. If young people could communicate entire conversations in tiny pictures, so could I. That evening, I practiced on Sarah. I sent her a message. Good night, Moonstar. Sleep well, face. See you tomorrow, sun. She replied, Dad, that's actually pretty good. But the face you used is the smirking face. It's a bit flirty. I looked at my phone in horror. I'd sent my daughter a flirty emoji. Was there a way to unsend messages? Could I throw the phone in a river and pretend this never happened? Which one is the normal smile? I texted back frantically. She sent me a guide. There were at least 20 different smiling faces, each with slightly different meanings. The regular smile, the big smile, smile with teeth, the smile with closed eyes, the smile with tear, the upside down smile, which apparently meant you were being sarcastic, not that you were Australian. This was harder than Latin. At least Latin had rules. My breakthrough came the following Tuesday at the senior center. I was showing my phone to Margaret, who'd been equally baffled by modern technology. So you press this little face button, I explained, demonstrating, and you get all these options. This one's happy. This one's very happy. This one's laughing so hard it's crying. Why would crying mean happiness? Margaret interrupted. I don't make the rules, Margaret. I just suffer under them. I was so focused on my explanation that I didn't notice I'd opened the camera to selfie mode. As I gestured enthusiastically, I accidentally took a burst of photos. Margaret and me, mid-conversation, looking confused and slightly startled. Later that night, feeling bold, I posted one of the photos to Facebook with the caption, Learning Technology with Margaret. No cap, it's bussin'. Fur. I fell asleep feeling rather pleased with myself. I woke up to 53 notifications. Apparently, I'd gone viral in my small social circle. Everyone found it hilarious. An old man using young people's slang. Sarah called me, laughing so hard she could barely speak. Dad, your posts, the comments. People I hadn't spoken to in years had commented. Harold said, Get it, Richard. David sent me 3 crying laughing emojis. Max commented, Grandpa's got the vibes, fire 100. I had no idea what vibes or the fire emoji meant, but I'd apparently done something right. This is embarrassing, I told Sarah. No, it's endearing. Max thinks you're cool now. Cool? Cool. I looked at the post again. Margaret and I frozen in digital confusion, surrounded by slang I barely understood. But Max thought I was cool. Maybe this technology thing wasn't so bad after all. Chapter 5, The Video Call Catastrophe. Dad, let's set up video calling, Sarah announced during her next visit. Then you can see Max while you talk to him. See him through the phone? Yes, it's like FaceTime or Zoom. You can have a face-to-face conversation. This seemed like witchcraft, but I'd come this far. All right, show me. Sarah walked me through the process, which involved downloading yet another app. I was developing a Pavlovian response to that word. Every time someone said app, my eye twitched. Creating an account and adjusting various settings that I immediately forgot. It's easy, she assured me. When someone calls, you just press the green button. The green button. Got it. That weekend, Max called me. A video call. I heard the ringing, saw his name on the screen, and pressed the green button with confidence. Max's face appeared, looking up at me from what seemed like a very odd angle. Then I realized I was looking at him, but he was looking at my ceiling. Grandpa, I can't see you. Hold on, I turned the phone over. Now I was looking at my ceiling too. Grandpa, I turned it again. There was my face, but it was upside down. Why are you upside down? Max asked, giggling. I'm not. The phone is. After several more rotations and Max's increasingly hysterical laughter, we finally got it right. There we were, grandfather and grandson, looking at each other through a screen. Hi, Grandpa. Hello, Max. I can see you. I can see you too. That's how video calls work. Smart aleck kid. He got that from my side of the family. We talked about school, his chess tournament, and his new skateboarding tricks. It was wonderful. I could see his expressions, the way he lit up when he talked about things he loved. This was better than phone calls. This was almost like being there. Then I made a mistake. I decided to show him something. Wait, let me show you my garden, I said, standing up. The phone's perspective lurched wildly as I walked outside, giving Max what must have been the most nauseating footage of walls, doors, and my feet. Grandpa, I'm getting dizzy. Sorry. I tried to steady my hand, but I was also trying to open the back door, and coordination wasn't my strong suit anymore. Outside, I panned the camera across my tomato plants. At least I meant to. Instead, I gave Max a thorough tour of the sky, the neighbor's roof, and approximately 3 seconds of tomatoes before I dropped the phone in the dirt. Grandpa. I picked up the phone. My face appeared on screen, much closer than intended, covered in concern and a small smudge of dirt. I'm fine. The phone's fine. Everything's fine. Max was laughing so hard he'd fallen off his chair. I could hear Sarah in the background. Is Dad okay? He dropped the phone in the garden, Max wheezed. Despite the chaos, or perhaps because of it, we talked for another 30 minutes. Max showed me his room, his chess trophies, his new skateboard. I showed him my garden again, this time with more success and less dirt. When we finally said goodbye, I sat in my armchair with the phone in my lap, smiling. Yes, I'd made a fool of myself. Yes, I still didn't quite understand how the camera worked. But I'd spent time with my grandson. Real time. Connected time. That night, I practiced video calling with Sarah. Then with David in Seattle. Time zones were another challenge. I called him at 6 a.m. his time, thinking it was 9 a.m., and got quite an earful about mathematics and time zones. I also discovered Zoom, which was like video calling, but for more people at once. This seemed both impressive and overwhelming. The idea of seeing multiple faces at the same time made me vaguely anxious. What if I didn't know where to look? What if I accidentally muted myself? What if I was overthinking this? One step at a time. Chapter 6, the Great Group Chat. Dad, I'm adding you to the family group chat, Sarah announced one day. What's a group chat? It's where we all message together. Me, David, Max, David's wife, Jennifer, and now you. This seemed efficient. So instead of calling everyone individually, I can talk to all of you at once? Exactly. What Sarah didn't mention was that group chats have no off switch. No pause button. No please for the love of God stop option. The messages started immediately. Sarah, welcome to the family chat, Dad. Confetti. David, hey Pops, glad you're here. Max, Grandpa's in the chat. Fire. Jennifer, hi Richard, so happy you joined. I carefully typed back, hello everyone, this is very nice. Then the flood began. Max, anyone seen my skateboard helmet? Sarah, check the garage. Max, found it, thanks. David, Jennifer and I are thinking of coming for Thanksgiving. Sarah, that would be great. I can host a... Jennifer, should we bring anything? Sarah, just yourselves. Max, can I bring my friend Jake? Sarah, of course. David, Jake's the one with the lizard, right? Max, no, that's Tyler. Jake has the snake. Jennifer, A snake? Max, don't worry, he's really small. Sarah, define small. This went on for hours. My phone buzzed constantly. Every time I put it down, it buzzed again. I'd look at it, see 17 new messages about topics ranging from Thanksgiving plans to Max's friend Snake, to what kind of pie Sarah should make. And by the time I caught up, there were 12 more messages. I tried to contribute. The pie sounds lovely, I typed 20 minutes after the pie conversation had ended. They'd moved on to discussing what time David's flight would arrive. David gets in at 3:45 on Tuesday. Sarah, I can pick you up. Me, the pie sounds lovely. Max, what pie, Grandpa? Me, the one Sarah is making? Sarah, Dad, we finished that conversation. We're doing apple pie. Me, wonderful. I like apple pie. Max, me too. Cupcake. David, same. Jennifer, I'll bring ice cream. And then the photos started. Max sent a picture of his skateboard trick. Jennifer sent a photo of their cat. Sarah sent a picture of her lunch. Apparently this was hereditary. Harold's sandwich obsession was spreading. David sent a screenshot of his flight confirmation. I tried to keep up. I really did. But by the end of the day, I had 147 unread messages, 3 accidentally sent thumbs-up reactions. I'd been trying to scroll, and a profound understanding of why young people were always staring at their phones. These things were relentless. That evening, Sarah called. How are you handling the group chat? It's active. Yeah, it gets busy. You can mute it if you want. Mute it? So it doesn't notify you every time someone sends a message. You can check it when you want. This was revolutionary information. How do I do that? She walked me through it. Sweet, blessed silence fell over my phone. But here's what surprised me. Even though the constant buzzing had driven me half mad, I actually liked the group chat. I like seeing these little glimpses into everyone's day. Max's skateboarding. Jennifer's cat. David's travel plans. It felt like being part of their lives, even when we were apart. I just needed to check it on my terms, not every 3 seconds. The next day, I opened the chat at breakfast and scrolled through the morning's messages. Max had sent a meme. Apparently a funny picture with text on it. I didn't understand the joke, but I sent a thumbs up anyway. He replied with a fire emoji. I still didn't know what that meant, but I was pretty sure it was positive. Chapter 7, The Connection. 3 months into my technology journey, something unexpected happened. I got good at it. Not expert level good. I still occasionally called people by accident, got confused by software updates, and once spent 20 minutes arguing with Siri about the weather forecast. But I could navigate my phone with something approaching competence. I video called Max every Saturday morning. We'd chat about his week, and I'd show him things from mine. The garden, a bird's nest I'd found, a particularly good crossword puzzle. He'd show me skateboard tricks and complain about math homework. Sometimes we'd just sit there, comfortable in the silence, like we were in the same room. David and I started a tradition of coffee chats, video calls on Sunday mornings where we'd both have our coffee and talk. Really talk. Not just the surface level, how's the weather conversations, but real discussions about life, work, memories, hopes. The distance between Seattle and home seemed smaller. Sarah and I texted daily. Usually nothing important, just little updates. The rose bush is blooming. Traffic is terrible today. Made your mother's pasta recipe. But these small connections added up to something bigger. I even started posting on Facebook regularly. Photos of my garden, updates about my day, the occasional attempt at humor. My posts usually got a few likes and comments, mostly from other people my age who were equally bemused by technology. But then Max taught me about Instagram stories, temporary posts that disappeared after 24 hours. This seemed wasteful. Why create something that vanished? But Max explained it was more casual, less permanent. It's for everyday stuff, Grandpa. Like, here's my breakfast. Or, look at this cool cloud. So I tried it. I posted a photo of my morning crossword puzzle, then my coffee, then the view from my window. Max replied to each one with emojis and comments. Crossword is hard today? That coffee looks good. Coffee. Nice view. We were having little conversations throughout the day. Tiny connections. Digital hellos. One Tuesday, I was at the senior center showing Margaret my phone. When she said something that struck me, "You seem happier lately, Richard." Do I? Yes. Less lonely. More connected. She was right. The house was still quiet, but I didn't feel as isolated. My family was right there, in my pocket, ready to talk whenever I wanted. The technology that had seemed so foreign and frustrating had become a bridge. But the real surprise came the next weekend. Sarah called. Voice call, not video. Dad, can you do me a favor? Of course. Can you teach me how to make Mom's pot roast? I want to make it for Thanksgiving, but I don't have her recipe written down. I can do better than that, I said. Let's do a video call, and I'll walk you through it. We spent 2 hours on video chat, me in my kitchen, Sarah in hers. I showed her how to prepare the meat, season it just right, the exact vegetables Mom always used. Sarah followed along, asking questions, laughing when flour exploded across her counter. This is nice, Dad, she said at one point. Like cooking together. It is, I agreed. And it was. The following week, David mentioned he'd been feeling stressed at work. Without thinking, I sent him a message. Want a video call tonight? I'm free. We talked for an hour. Not about anything specific, really. Just talked. He vented about work. I told him stories from my own career. We laughed about Max's latest skateboarding disaster. Minor scrapes, major drama. Thanks, Pops, David said before we hung up. I needed this. Anytime, I said. And I meant it. Then came Thanksgiving week. Sarah in the group chat. Okay, family, I have an idea. What if we do a video call the day before Thanksgiving? We can all cook our prep dishes together, like the old days when we'd all be in the kitchen at once. David, that's perfect. We're flying in Tuesday night, so we can join from the hotel. Jennifer, I love this idea. Max, can I cook something? Sarah, you can help me with the stuffing prep. Max, cool, cool. Everyone looked at me. Well, not literally. We were all in different locations, but I could feel the digital expectation. Me, I'll make my contribution to the pot roast prep. But I warn you all, I'm still learning how to position the camera properly. Max, it's okay, Grandpa, we like your ceiling shots. Crying, laughing. Wednesday afternoon arrived. At 2 p.m., we all logged on to Zoom. Sarah's idea, since it could handle multiple video streams. One by one, faces popped up on my screen. Sarah and Max in her kitchen. David and Jennifer in their hotel room in the city, with a cutting board balanced on the desk and ingredients spread across the bed. And me, in my kitchen, positioned so they could hopefully see more than just my ceiling. Everyone ready? Sarah asked. Ready, we chorused. For the next 3 hours, we cooked together. Separately, but together.